there are a few things that come out of Professor Van Vuuren's talk tonight. the one thing you know is that there's so much to know about life on this planet, including our country, and there's so little that we know about it. That's the first thing. It's quite obvious. The second thing is game ranching pays for research. That's very clear. I think we should all look at 20 million rand for a lot of things. Makes sense to do that rather than write papers. But anyway, I looked at Professor Van Vuuren's CV and I looked at the talk tonight, and it struck me that molecular ecologists, molecular biologists, molecular geneticists are really time travelers. They give us a view of the world in the very distant past. By looking at species that exist today with us, we are able to see what happened to species in the very, and maybe not so distant past. So we know about how species occurred on the planet. We know how they've adapted to different ecosystems. We have an understanding of the challenges they faced, the small populations that were created. And all of these are locked within the genetic signatures and genetic code of species. And people like Professor Van Vuuren are able to unlock those secrets. So we have a sense of the past. We also have a sense of the future. And I think we have a sense of it today. With ecosystems disappearing, ice caps melting, we begin to understand that the Earth is a changing place. And it's changing in a rate that's unpredictable and unprecedented in its history. Last week, you might recall that we had Earth Day, where as a species, as a human species, we were actually concerned about what we're doing to the planet. But what molecular geneticists can do is give us a glimpse of what species will be like in the future, how the biomes will change, which species are likely to survive, and which species are likely to disappear. Clearly, those that occur in small populations that are inbred are more likely to disappear than ones that are currently doing well. But then who's to say what's good and what's bad? The last view is that they give us a sense of what's happening currently. We've seen this with the roan, and we've seen that with sable. Sometimes we have species that look very similar to one another, but genetically very different. And sometimes we have the opposite. They're somewhat different, but they are genetically very different. Why is this important? I mean, this is the sort of thing that makes biologists very excited sometimes. It's because the National and International Biodiversity Convention says protect genotypes. Of course, we have to understand what those genotypes mean, because how do you go about protecting it? And the implication from there is that we can then understand what to conserve and then what to work out in terms of the invasive species. We have to have people that unlock these secrets for us. I think ultimately what we have is a talk tonight that actually showcased that time traveling. I think we can ask Professor Van Vuuren later if she saw dinosaurs along her time travels, but clearly we have a sense of someone who's able to unlock these secrets for us. Thank you very much.
The University of Johannesburg. Rethink, reinvent.